Hi everyone, I wanted to do my John Maxwell today, and the chapter this week I started day 1. It's about Samson and the law of solid ground. So basically John Maxwell has given the readings Judges 13 verse 1 to 16:31, and the thought for today is trust is formed by a leader's character and credibility. So in all of our lives we can have ups and downs, but in our faith journey the goal is to finish strong. And if we look at even our companions who we went to university with, we can have a list of people that we started our faith journeys with at university, and many of them have fallen away from the faith. They don't practice anymore, and many of us go through challenges in our faith. We do practice, but we go through periods of dry spells, of personal challenges which challenge our faith. And in spiritual direction we call those periods of desolation, where we feel far from God. We don't feel like God is close to us, and we don't feel close to the community, and we can turn in on ourselves. So during those times it's important for us to keep active, to keep talking to people, even if it's our neighbors, and to keep appreciating the joy of life, knowing that that closeness to God will return. But we all go through those periods of dry spells in our faith. And it can be brought about by different things. Can be brought about by treachery, betrayal, adversaries, and our own sins. So this Moments of Peace in the Presence of God, this is a book that was given away at my church, and I picked it up. Everybody exchanges things, so I brought this book, and I do the daily meditations from there. But going back to this chapter, basically it's looking at the story of Samson and how his mother gave birth to him, and the promises that she made. She stopped drinking, she stopped eating certain foods, and then she gave birth to him. And how Samson was very strong in his life, how he defeated his enemies, and God was always with him. But then it goes through this phase where it shows how Samson turns away from God's laws. He practices prostitution, and he practices taking revenge, and how he gets tempted by Delilah, and he ends his life by saying, God, let me kill myself and all these people here with me. And he gets a little boy to help him put his hands on the pillars, and his strength is gone from cutting his hair, and revealing to Delilah where that strength came from. So he started strong, but he didn't finish strong. And I think that's the challenge for all of us on our faith journeys. When we get to the end of our lives, whether we will have kept our faith or not, and whether we will have run the course of our lives. There are some people who are very good, and they do all the right things, and they keep their faith. And there are some of us who go through challenges. For me, I'm not a practicing spiritual director. I don't take people for spiritual direction. I had passed my name on to Regis College, to the Jesuits, and also I had registered with Spiritual Directors International. But for me, I don't take people, because it's been a long time and the college has never helped me. They've never referred people to me or sent people my way. I help at my church, and so I help if there's retreats there, or if there's a need for Father needing help for something in the parish, and I use my skills that way. but I don't see people for spiritual direction because the church doesn't send people to me. So that's that. But I think the John Maxwell is good because if you reflect on it, he's given a very powerful example of somebody who was strong in his faith and how he turned away from God's laws and how his life ended basically with him taking his life and the life of many people around him. So in our jobs too, we have that saying that we can start strong, but do we finish strong? So do we start strong and finish keeping our relationships and keeping good relationships with people? Or do we start strong and then finish with destroying people's lives and destroying careers and, destroying whole economies if we have the power to? Because that's what was happening in that story of Samson. And it's something that we can take with us, we can journal on it, and we can reflect on it. And the other thing I wanted to show you is that I keep this little Bible, this New Jerusalem Bible. I keep it when I'm working, which I'm not right now. But when I was working, I used to put it in my satchel and take it with me. That way at lunchtime, I can pick it up and I can read the scriptures of the day, or I can just pick it up and read something to inspire me during the day. So those are the three things I wanted to share today. But it's just about how we can take these Bible stories and Bible scriptures and use them not only in our personal lives, but in our business lives. And the question for reflection is, do your people consider you trustworthy? So in your place of employment, in your church, in your community, in, even people that have the same roles as you, like the cleaners in your building. I've worked as a cleaner. Or the people who serve in retail. Like, do people consider you trustworthy, or do they feel they always have to have you tracked and followed and that you're not trustworthy? So for me, I know that I'm trustworthy in my community. I know that Father Larry trusts me in this condominium building. I know the condo manager trusts me, the security guards, the cleaners, my neighbors, and that is a building block for me. And even where I've worked in past companies, I know that people trusted me. They trusted me with their credit cards, with buying things for them, for their families, gifts, for clients. And that trust can be very easily broken. We have very good examples of it in our communities with our 10 cities here in Canada, and with people being let go from jobs. We have people that have deliberately done others down. Sometimes there is a misunderstanding, or sometimes people don't understand things. I've had that in my career where somebody's explained something to me and I don't understand it. Or even as a child growing up in school, there's concepts, whether it was mathematics or music, there were things that I had to keep learning until I understood them. But that's the thought for today. It wasn't a very encouraging story, but I did read the scriptures and I waited for a while before I did the talk because I wanted time to process it. But it's a good reflection for us to remember, and for us in the church, in the Catholic Church, like to do something like that, to commit mass murder and to commit suicide is a sin. We don't believe that that's the right solution, and we don't believe that that's a choice. It should not, for us, we have alternate solutions. We have alternatives that we can look at, and that's why I don't support this medical assisted suicide or medical assistance in dying. But that's what I read that today, and for me it was a good story to read and to reflect on, because being in transition, being unemployed, you do go through periods of depression, you do go through periods of anger, you do go through periods of questioning, why is this an ongoing situation? But in all of that, I guess God has his own plan for our lives and for how our lives to turn out. I did have my time where I did my spiritual direction. I didn't charge for it. I did have times where I helped with retreats with the Jesuits. I helped at Regis College with overseeing small groups, with training groups, and with giving retreats together with the professors. I don't do that anymore. And I asked for a long, long time. So clearly the church has no need for me or for my skills or for my training. There's obviously no need for it in Canada or anywhere in the world, because I approached retreat centers in America. I approached the Sisters by the Sea. I've approached sisters here in Toronto. I've approached Jesuit colleges many times, and they always say, oh, you have impressive talents and skills, but we have no need for you. So obviously there's no need for me. And so that's fine. I'm doing other things. I'm doing this John Maxwell now. And I don't register with the Spiritual Directors International anymore. And it will always be a part of my portfolio, but obviously that door has closed and I'm not doing it anymore. If it opens at some point in the future, then we'll see what happens. But there was a lot I wanted to do with it. I wanted to travel. I wanted to give retreats like Carol and Miss. I wanted to have events, and I did try to set them up. But when you don't have an income, and the cities here in Toronto, they want to charge big fees for you to book their rooms, it's not possible to do it. And I did approach a lot of different churches, and nobody was interested. So it seems to be an ongoing theme. So let's see what happens. It's like that with my career in Canada. It's like that with everything. It's like that with family events, with everything. It's always, you do your thing, we're doing ours. So I'm not sure what God's plan is, but I enjoyed it while I had the opportunity to do it as a student at the college, and the few occasions that I did have where people contacted me through Spiritual Directors International, and I took them for spiritual direction. We did emails, we did phone calls, we did Skype. So I did use it, but that hasn't happened in the last 10 years. The last time must have been like 2013, 2014, when I had my Primerica business, just before that. So we'll see how it goes, but hopefully God will keep me on the right path, and hopefully I will finish strong. I certainly don't want to finish weak, but who knows how this life turns out. My desire is not to finish weak and not to hurt God, and I do my best every day.